All righty, friends. How's everybody this afternoon? Yeah.
Good.
Oh, a little bit more energy for the afternoon. This is a good thing. Hi, I'm Amanda Roberts. I'm a member of our change management team for the SkyVU project and the lead for our learning program, of which this is a part. So today is our flight check-in, our second flight check-in. We're discussing some hot topics, and I have some of our functional leads here who are really going to be the stars of today. So just want to get you guys introduced so you can know what to expect for today. Also, welcome all of you who have not joined us in the room but are on our live stream or in one of our overflow locations downstairs. I believe we have one of those as well. If you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to email those to skyvu@vanderbilt.edu. That email address is being monitored by one of the other members of our team so that during the Q&A session at the end of our session today, we'll be happy to take those questions as well and try to answer as many as we possibly have time for before we go outside on this gorgeous day and have a little ice cream. So, yeah. That's right. All right. As we're getting started today, our agenda is, I am welcoming you now. I'm very glad that you're here. And today we're going to talk about some topics that affect anybody at Vanderbilt. At minimum, timekeeping. So today we'll be hearing from a couple of functional leads. Dave O'Farrell and Terry Armstrong are here. They'll talk with us about our timekeeping. And then I'm happy to welcome Tiffany Gregory from Finance to talk with us about expense reporting. And then we'll take some questions at the end. So I ask, please collect those and gather them as we're going through. And we'll gather all the questions, and then they'll come up as a panel and take those right at the end so we can be efficient, since we do have quite a bit to get through. As we're moving through, I want to start with thinking about our timekeeping applications. How many of you guys have submitted time at some point in the last week? I'm hoping I'm going to see more. Yes, okay. Just checking into the month. Okay, so e-timesheet is used for folks who are non-exempt, submit timesheets on a biweekly basis. Exempt time off system used for those who submit time on a monthly basis today. In the future, we've got one time icon that will be available in the Oracle Cloud system and is used for both sets of types of time reporting. The group that we're not going to be talking about, not leaving you out purposefully today, it's just we're still working on the solution for folks who use the card swiping or card tapping systems with Kronos. So if you're a Kronos user, please stay tuned. We will have more information for you as we move a little bit further on in the project as that solution is resolved. All right, so thinking about our biweekly folks, the non-exempt group who uses e-timesheet today, we're going to start with that group, and Dave is going to talk about that. As we're getting started, I want to think about what's not changing here, because there's a lot that's not changing. We're still being paid on a biweekly schedule. We still have similar deadlines, still have similar requirements, still need to go to my manager to ask for time off or to let them know about taking PTO. We'll put that time off in the system. What is changing, and it's a really cool feature, is that today we have a lot of manual process when we have to go back and fix something where the deadline has passed. Anybody filled out paper timesheets for past time, missed punches, gone through the EPAC process for some of those kind of things? Yes. So in the future, our timekeeping tool allows for some of those edits and things to now be made electronically and just be recaptured through the payroll processing process. So it's going to be more efficient, and it'll be a really nice feature. So I know Dave's going to talk about that. And without any further ado, I want to introduce him. And we're going to be moving into a simulation environment. We are in test for our environments and where we're working through today. So rather than going through our live environment where they are making configuration changes all the time, we've captured a demonstration for you to show how this biweekly time reporting will work for our non-exempt employees. So Dave, take it away.
Thank you, Amanda.
You are welcome.
For those of you that I haven't met, my name's Dave O'Farrell. I'm the new payroll director. I've been here 1 year and 1 day. So it feels like more like 3 years, but I went from new hire orientation right to a SkyVU workshop.
That's true.
So this is a test environment, like Amanda said, and we're going to be using a fictitious employee, James Bond. So this is the home page. This is what James saw when he logged in to the Oracle application. May not look this way when we go live, but this is the way it looks now in our test environment. So to access the time, you see this little icon here that says time right there, but we're not going to click on that. We're actually going to go to the navigator, or as some people call the hamburger. You may have heard the hamburger, or the 3 parallel lines. But the navigator is what it's actually called by Oracle. So under Oracle, under this we have About Me. So under About Me, we have the time icon. That's where we're going to report our time. We're only talking about non-exempt, biweekly and weekly employees that will be using this piece to record their regular time. Terry will talk about using it for the exempt population and for your time off. So you see, this is similar to what Outlook looks like. So you see you have the days, you have the week, you have the periods. So for James, he's already gone in and he's already put in time for Monday the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in time that he worked on Thursday the 25th. And you see at the top, we have these three icons here, regular, on-call, and PTO. Those can be configured for our users for our most frequently used time types. So that list may change. Not a lot of people have on-call. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the regular and drag it down into the calendar under Thursday.
Ooh, wow.
Tiffany has not seen the presentation, so enthusiasm on the front row is appreciated.
Appreciated.
We can't do it again. I'm sorry.
We'll
do it for Friday. We'll do it for the Friday. So you have the window pop up. You see the assignment number. If James had multiple assignments, he would click on this down arrow and see the multiple assignments. You show his work unit, the time type, which is regular, which we selected up here, and it knows that we moved it into the 25th. And where we landed was on 8 o'clock a.m. for him coming in. Now, if we drug it and it was landed at 7:30, we can change it here at the same time, too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and he's working until 12 noon when he takes a lunch. So he's going to type in 12 p.m. in this little box right there. Thank you, James. So now you want to click on Save and Close. And now you see it on the screen. So he comes back from lunch at 1 o'clock. So he's going to drag, get ready, Tiffany. Drag the and the little window pops up again at 1 o'clock, and he leaves at 5 p.m. And we're going to save and close that. So now for Friday, we have where he's taking PTO. He's got an assignment in the UK. He's got to go do something, whatever James Bond does over a holiday weekend. So James needs to catch a flight, British Airways, on Friday. So he needs to take some PTO on Friday. So he's going to drag his PTO into the Friday, and he's going to take 8 hours of PTO. That's his normally scheduled time. So he's going to put 4 o'clock. He doesn't need to split it out, 8 to 12, 1 to 5. He could if he wanted, but he doesn't need to. So go ahead and click on Save and Close, James. James? There you go. Very good. Very good. So you note at the top, we have these little arrows up here, these left arrows and these right arrows at the top. That was what Amanda was talking about. We're not going to see it in this particular demonstration, but he could go back to a previous pay period and say he forgot to select PTO or he forgot to put in hours. He can actually go back to a previous pay period and put in those time. It'll go through the approval process, and he will get paid on his next paycheck. So no more payroll correction forms, no more paper timesheets. None of that will exist with the new system. Wow. Wow. So let's go to the next week. And the next week had a holiday, Memorial Day. So he needs to put in his holiday time. You notice holiday is not at the top, so he's just going to click right here in the grid, and the magic window pops up. Ooh. And he can actually select his assignment. He'll have to go in and fill in the assignment, the work unit, but it'll fill it in when he puts the assignment. Click on the assignment, James. Now he wants to select the holiday as the time type. Holiday, right down there, James. And he'll put the time as 4 p.m. because he's taking 8 hours of holiday pay on Monday, Memorial Day. And he's going to save and close that, and it's going to show up on our screen magically in probably another color other than blue. Oh, it's light blue. So now like I said, he's got a long assignment. He's not going to be back for the rest of the week. So we're going to go in and put in PTO for him for those days. But it's going to that was magic. That was that doesn't happen like that normally. That doesn't happen like that normally. That's Amanda's magic.
Simulation.
It's a simulation. Yes, it's a simulation. So we're at the end of the biweekly pay period. What happens at that point? He's ready to submit his time. Because you must not just save your time, but submit your time if you want to get paid. Okay, and James wants to get paid. So he's going to go up to review and submit. We have this little handy-dandy window pop up. I certify to the accuracy of the hours recorded. I understand intentional falsification of time records is a serious violation of Vanderbilt policy that will result in disciplinary action. This is a certification message that will pop up every time they go to submit a time card. And that's similar to what happens in e-timesheet now. The message in e-timesheet is 400 and some characters. Oracle could only fit this many characters. So we had to abbreviate the certification message. So he's going to click on OK. He can't go any further until he clicks on OK. And now you notice this view looks a little different. This is not that Outlook view. This is more what I call the grid view. So you go down and you see his name, you see his assignment, his position, you see all this information about him. He already knows that. He knows that I'm his manager. So, and it shows that the status of the timesheet is now in a save status because he hasn't actually finished the submit process. So under the reported time section, those are just the ins and outs that he put in on that first screen. So if we scroll over through the magic of simulation, we will see those in and outs on all those days. So he's actually submitted a total of 80 hours, which makes sense for a biweekly employee for 2 weeks. So that's reported time. When he went to this screen, it actually did a calculated time. This is where that magical stuff called overtime, shift differential can be in that category. You'll see that in this section. So calculated time for him is pretty straightforward. It's just the regular holiday and the PTO. He doesn't have anything against, but he didn't work any overtime for that week either. So calculated time, he can review that. And once he feels that his timesheet is complete and accurate, he will go back to the top and he will click on Submit at the top. Very good, James. And it will give him a confirmation message that his time card has been submitted for approval. So his line manager, well, we're going to go look because James also got a notification up in his bell. Ding, there's the bell. See the little one? Showing that he has submitted his time for the week of the 21st through June 3rd. That same notification is going to go to his line manager. His line manager will be able to go to the notifications, click on this blue link, and actually review James's time. If they don't have any problem with it, they'll click Approve. If they have a problem with it, they'll click Reject, and they will tell James, you didn't take PTO on Friday. You were here on Friday. Please change and resubmit. And that will go back through the process. James will get that notification, and he would have to go in and make the fix and then submit it.
And that can all be done in the time application and through that card, specifically the one that was sent back. So it can go back and forth.
Back and
correct?
forth.
Excellent.
So once James's line manager approves it, payroll can pull it in and pay James. Accurately and completely and timely and all that good stuff.
Excellent.
That is time and labor. And we'll have questions at the end. We'll have questions at the end, Mike. I'm sorry. We'll have questions at the end.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Dave. So we've talked about the biweekly and the weekly non-exempt pieces. Now I'm going to turn it over in a second to Terry Armstrong to talk about exempt time off reporting. So if you're an exempt time off user today, you're familiar with going through that monthly process. Just happened, right? We got our email. It said I happen to use exempt time off myself, so I'm very familiar with this one. Every month I get the email that says, hey, it's time to submit your time off. And so as an exempt employee, I submit only the time that I'm not here. Correct. And that happens on a monthly basis. In the future, this system is really cool because it will allow me to submit those PTOs through the system, have them approved by my manager, by the tool, and then it can be recorded, and I don't have to do that monthly recording. It's more real time. And so Terry's going to show us how that works in the system so that we can understand some of the really nice features and benefits of using this for our exempt time off as well. So Terry, take it away.
Thank you. I'm going to stand over here beside you.
Feel free.
Hello, I'm Terry Armstrong, Director of Benefits, Operations, and Systems. I'm going to show you, as Amanda mentioned, the exempt employee, what they will see when they sign in to do their time. We talked about a little bit that everyone's going to go in the same way to actually enter their time now. There's not two separate links. So this is an employee. Ann is an exempt employee. So she has the time icon on her screen as well. Some people will see this a little bit differently. So we're going to go through the navigator as Dave did and show you how to do it that way. So the same thing under About Me, you're going to click on Time. So same process whether you're exempt or non-exempt. This screen, however, is going to look just a little bit different. It still defaults to a weekly calendar look. Up at the top, you can change to daily, weekly, or a monthly view. The default is the weekly view. After that, we're going to look at the task icon over here, or task bar, over on the right-hand side. The first one that you click on is going to take you to some related links. And we're going to come back to this one because this is where you're going to go in to get the details about your balances and to actually enter your absences. The second or the middle button there actually shows you some of your, like a snapshot of your absence details. So you'll see at the top there, you'll see what your current balances are in the as of date. And down at the bottom, you'll actually see any scheduled absences that you might have, that you've already entered. The bottom button there just allows you to change the view of your default calendar. I don't suspect many people will actually do that, but we wanted you to know that it's there. Again, don't anticipate a lot of people doing that, but it is there if you wanted to. So as I mentioned, we're going to go back up to related links, and we're going to click on Maintain Absence Records. So as Amanda mentioned, this is where you're going to enter any time that you are away from work. So whether that's PTO, bereavement, jury duty, if you're filing FMLA, any of that stuff, those are absences because you are not at work. So all of those are going to be entered through here. When you first get into this page, you'll see at the top that Ann already has a couple of things scheduled. She's planning to be out on May 30th, or she was out on May 30th, and she's also planning to be out some in September. So this is always going to give you a quick summary of what you've already planned or what you've already entered into the system. Just below that, you'll see your current accrual balances. Now you'll notice on this one that the balance calculation date, one is as of May 30th, one is as of April. Again, we're in the test environment, so some things look a little different. But we'll show you how to look at that at different dates in just a minute. And then again, it shows the balance for each one. Up at the top, this is something cool that you might want to experiment with once you get into the system. You can actually filter based on time frames. You can look at any request you've submitted in the last 6 months, anything that you've done in the last year, 2 years, 3 years. You can even look at stuff that's been submitted for the future. So that's a way to filter. You can filter by date, by your absence type, and the status. So if you want to see what's still awaiting approval, you could actually go in and filter down and see what your manager hasn't looked at yet or what they haven't approved yet. If you want to see what's already been scheduled or approved, you can filter all of that. So that's a really neat tool as well, that you can see what's going on in different time frames and different statuses. So next, Ann is going to go ahead and add a request to be out of the office. She's going to go in and select PTO because she's planning on taking a little vacation. So this is the screen that you'll see to actually go in and enter your absences. We're not going to click on this to demonstrate it, but I will say right in the middle there you can see where it says single day. So if you're only going to be out for 1 day, you can click on that and it grays out some of the other stuff that you don't have to fill in if it's just a 1-day absence, so like an end date and stuff like that. Ann, however, is planning on taking a whole week, so we're going to not click the single day and fill it out completely. So the first thing she wants to do is go to July and select July 3rd. And she's planning on taking that whole week, so she'll scroll through again and choose the 7th. So if you notice, she's actually taking a whole week, but because the holiday falls in there, it's only calculating that she's taking 32 hours. So she's only going to be charged 32 hours of PTO because 8 of that is a holiday for Vanderbilt. Now, if she wanted to see what effect this would have on her PTO balance, you may not have noticed it previously, but it was 176.667, I believe. So if she wanted to see what effect this would have, this is actually going to take into her PTO balance was as of April 30th. So this is going to take into effect the 16 hours that she would earn in May and June, plus the any time that she had already requested but hadn't gotten to yet. So it would subtract that time out and give her a projected balance that as of everything that's in the system right now, that's what her balance would be if everything played out the way she had it scheduled. Wow. So that's, yeah, Tiffany. Thank you, Tiffany. Is that not handy?
That's good.
Yes. So this will be very helpful for those who are always at that PTO bank limit. It will really help you to monitor what your balance is and help you schedule your time off so that you stay below that PTO balance. So once she has this in, maybe she wants to just give her manager a heads up of where she might be or what her plans are. So you can enter comments in here. She's planning on taking a family vacation to the beach. Yeah. Tiffany, yeah. I know you'd love to be doing that right now.
Right now.
So once she does that, then she'll just hit submit. And then it's just confirming that it was submitted to her manager, so she hits OK. And now you can see on the top row there that her request has been submitted and it's awaiting approval by her manager. Now we did get some questions from our webinar about changing this. So if something happened and she wasn't able to take that vacation, she can always go back and just click on the date, the time frame, the 7/3 to 7/7, and either edit it and then resubmit it back to her manager. Or if she doesn't get to take it at all, she can click on that X and just delete it out. Now, anytime you make a change, whether it's changing the dates or you try to delete it, it's always going to go back to the line manager for review and approval. Okay. So now you'll always see this warning as well, just making sure that you've completed every action that you wanted to take on the screen. So she'll just click yes on this. And so now we're just going to scroll through simulated really quickly. And now you'll see that the PTO that she entered there and the holiday are both showing up for that week. Now, if we go back into the taskbar and look at her accrual balances under Maintain Absence Records, we'll see the effect that this is going to have, and it'll show you a little more detail on that projecting balances. So you see at the top, we've got some scheduled absences in there. So under the accrual balances, we click on PTO exempt, and now you see a summary of what her current accrual is up at the top as of April 30th. So that's very important. Always pay attention to what the date is showing you up at the top. If we click on details, she'll see a few more details of the existing absences she had in there as of April 30th. So you can see her initial balance that rolled in as part of conversion was 160, and then she accrued 16 hours in the month of April. So if she wants to see what the effect of all the absences that she has scheduled would be, she'll go up and choose a different date. So we're going to go to the end of July so we can see what effect that week in July has. And the very important part of this is you can't just select the date. You always have to click the little arrow in order to update. So in order to update the view, you always got to click the arrow. So now you can see, and it goes way down because we started at the month of April, but you can see that it's taking out 8 hours of PTO for those days in July, and then she's also getting her accrual at the end of July for the following month. And then if she goes back, I think it goes back to the summary screen next, just to give a quick summary of what her balances would look like at the end of July. Really cool. Okay. So once she's done with that, she'll just click OK, and then done, I believe. And confirm by clicking yes. And then if she's completely done, she can go back to the home screen. She can log out straight from here. You click on your name and click sign out, and then just confirm that. So Dave mentioned that once you submit a request, whether it's non-exempt or exempt, the line manager is going to receive a notification as well. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick so you can see it from a line manager's perspective as well. So her line manager is Oliver Sutton. So we're going to log into Oliver's account. So you can see the home screen looks very similar for him. But he now has a notification in his bell. So if he clicks on that, he'll see that some action is required for a PTO request from Ann. And she's requesting July 3rd to July 7th. So if he clicks on that, it will take him to the approval or rejection page. So from here, you can see at the top under details, it was assigned to Oliver. It came from Ann when she submitted the request. And then under the details section for the absence entry, it shows all of the information that Ann had previously entered. So it gives you the time frame, the daily duration, and the total duration. If he scrolls down to the bottom of the page, you can see the rest of that total duration, and her comments saying that her family vacation is going to take her to the beach. So if he's fine with this and he wants to approve it, then he just goes to the top and clicks approve. There's also under the actions, you can actually go back and maybe you're not sure if you want to approve it or reject it just yet. There's a request more information under actions, so you could just send it back to the employee to request additional information. You haven't approved it, you haven't rejected it. You're just like, I don't really know. Let me get a little bit more information. But in this case, he's good with it, so he's going to click approve. And that's it from Oliver's perspective.
And from the perspective of the approval, as Dave mentioned, the notification process is the same. There's a bell that notifies. The time card looks similar, but for that non-exempt employee's manager, it will have that grid information like we saw when the employee reviewed their time card. So the view will be a little bit different, but you're seeing the same information either way, and the process will be the same. So, cool.
And once Oliver has approved it, then Ann would also get a bell notification saying that it's been approved or rejected or that more information was requested.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terry. All right, so we talked timekeeping. We're going to switch gears and talk finance. So as we think about finance, we want to talk about travel and expenses. So Tiffany's going to talk today about expense reporting. Let's remind us what we do today. Today we have one application that manages our travel and expense. We use 2 modules in the Concur system. As we're moving forward, we're splitting the functions between expenses and travel. So Concur will still be used for the travel reservations piece. You can still book travel there, still use your one card if you have one there. And then once those expenses or the travel or any other expenses have been incurred, they will be entered through our expense reporting application that's going to be in our Oracle Cloud system. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Tiffany to talk to us and give us a demonstration about what Oracle expense reporting looks like.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I don't feel like I'm sitting here doing a presentation. I'm actually learning something today. I was really shocked here about what we've learned today. I am flying high with SkyVU today. I'm so excited. So as we continue to fly high with SkyVU, we're going to go ahead and talk about expenses. Like Amanda said, we are going to move from Concur to do our expense reports, and we're going to go straight into Oracle with our expenses. So that means that just like our timekeeping, we have the same landing here. Oh, wow, this is my profile. My name is up there. Can you see it? That's me. So this is my, in my picture. She's hot. I'm going to be a little extra today because it's my birthday. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be a little extra today. Okay, so let's go on with our, let's go on. Okay, so here we are. We have our landing page, and as you see, we have all these different things here, these icons here, but we still want to go ahead and navigate the way that we're supposed to through the navigation button or the hamburger. So as we go ahead and navigate, we're going to stay still in the same lane here, All About Me. So when we're in All About Me, we'll click Expenses, and wow, this is our landing page. For some of you, this is exactly what you will see when you actually go into your landing page. There'll be nothing there, just kind of blank. But here, you have the opportunity to have your expense items or your expense reports. Let's move on to what it will look like if it were populated with actual expenses. Now, this is me. I'm a go-getter. I'm a traveler. I have a lot of expenses. I have a one card. I'm a go-getter, okay? I'm busy. So here are all of my expenses. Here it tells me that I have some expense items. I have some card charges. I even have some cash expense items. I also have some expense reports. I have one that requires action. And I have 2 that are in progress. Again, I am busy. I am doing it. So today I think it's really great for us to go ahead and start by creating an expense report. We did our time. Let's create an expense report. We're going to click on the Actions button. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me tell you about this approvals. Not everyone's going to have them, but some of those who are approval will have the approval function. You will see those items there, those expense reports there. Okay? So let's go ahead and move on to this create an expense report. Under the Actions button, you'll create an expense report. You can either create an item or an expense report. And today, this is what our expense report looks like. This is the header. You guys are really quiet. Well, you know what the difference is on this one? In Concur, we have so many fields. Now, I'm going to say it again. This is your header. So this is very simple. You don't have as many fields as you would in Concur. So this is all you have, people. So all you have to do is fill out your business purpose. So let's go to a conference in Sacramento. I like California this time of the year. And I think we can move on now to add some of our existing expenses. You remember I had a whole bunch of expenses already. Click Add Existing, and wow, what populates? All my expenses. So I have card transactions, and I also have some cash transactions here. So we're going to go ahead and select, I believe, airfare. Hit Apply. And then we're going to go ahead and select the 1 card transaction and apply and hit OK. Now these have come back to my expense report. I have 2 items already in my expense report there for you. Very simple stuff, right? Right? Yes. Simple, simple, simple. But guess what I forgot? I had a meal. I had a dinner while I was in Sacramento because I like to eat. Oh, go figure, I have to eat. So let's go ahead and add another expense right now, manually. So here, all you have to do is go change the date. We're going to change it back to April, when I traveled. And then we have the template. We only have 2 templates, one for relocation and one for general expenses. I'm telling you guys, it's very simple. Nothing much here. Go ahead and pick our VU General TIF, and when we do that, we're going to go ahead and select our type of expense, and look here. Oh my goodness. It's just a drop down, people. It's simple. You have to not think. All you have to know is that you went to dinner, and it was domestic, and it was a dinner. I'm going to select my dinner, and then I'm going to determine, let's do the expense location. Where I ate my dinner was in Sacramento. Type it on in. Yeah. And then you don't have to type it all because it thinks for you even. Good gracious. And I put in the dollar amount. I'm telling you, this system is amazing. And then I go ahead and put in my description for my dinner. I had a dinner. It was great. I had fish. I went to Fisherman John's or Joe's. And then that's it. So now let me show you something else. Here, I can actually see what my entity and my financial unit is. I can see it all right here just by hovering over the blue squiggly line. That lets me know, hey, it already populated as travel. I don't have to do anything. It's there already. It's easy stuff, people. You don't have to do anything. That's great. Yeah. Let's go because I believe.
And this is defaulted based on what?
This is defaulted based on my financial unit. This is where I'm from. This is finance. I live in finance. I live there every day, all day.
She does.
But I'm there for finance. I promise you. I'm there for finance. And procurement and payment services is my home, okay? That's my house, okay? And inside of my suburb finance. And so that's all my information there. And then guess what? The account that I used for my dinner happens to be travel expense domestic. I mean, that's easy stuff. Let's go next and see what we can do now. If I needed to change it, what if finance said, I'm not taking you to Sacramento? What if another financial unit decided that I was supposed to go travel for them? I can change that here. Simple stuff, people. Simple stuff. That's all you have to do is change it here if I wanted to. But finance is paying for this one today. All right, so I think we can go ahead and close it.
The only thing I want to point out, too, is that in addition to the account, if it's a project,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
so
definitely.
if you were traveling for a grant or if you have faculty funds or other types of items where you have expenses, that project information and the task and organization expenditure information, like that can all be put in here as well.
That can be put in right there.
Okay.
Right there.
All right. We've got to itemize this.
Oh, my goodness. At dinner, I had a glass of wine. Good for me. I needed it. I was there for finance, for God's sake. So I needed a glass of wine. So I'm going to go ahead and itemize that wine out because we all know we need to itemize our alcohol out of our expenses, right? Okay, good. I know we're working with cooking with gas here. So there's just, all you have to do is drop down, people. I'm telling you, it thinks for you. It already knows what you want to do. So you go ahead and select the alcohol and entertainment itemization, and it was $10. I mean, I got a cheap glass of wine. And then we want to, now look here, my remaining balance is $40. It's doing the math for you. There's no fail here. So let's go ahead. I've got to actually itemize the rest. And the rest is the dinner. My fish. It was delicious. Oh, wow. There we go. So now my remaining balance is 0, and I think I'm ready to go. Oh, but guess what you can do here? You can actually see more information, just like you can in Concur. You can kind of see all the good information. If you want to go ahead and put a description, you can. It's not required because it doesn't have like an asterisk or something of that nature, but you can go ahead and put that there if you wanted to. You can actually change the project number if you needed to here. You can do all that kind of information right here when you're doing your itemization.
And this is the same today for itemization, and it replaces the current allocation function.
The allocation
too, right?
functions in Concur,
Okay.
yes.
Excellent.
Save and close. Okay, you guys. This is my expense report. Sacramento, California. This is what I did. This is all my good stuff here. I want you to look at something, though. Draw your eyes, not to the highlighted area just yet. Are you drawing? Okay. Draw our eyes to the image receipt required. It's red. It's telling you that the image receipt is required. And it's red. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious. There's a lot of people who are going to see that red message, and they're going to freak out. Because red sometimes means, you know, oh my goodness, I haven't done something. Oh my God, it's a flag. I've done something wrong. Take it out. Oh my goodness, somebody come help me. Call me. Something. Well, if you haven't noticed, Tiffany, because she's I do a good job, I already put a cash receipt with that expense report. So right above there, that shows you that there was an actual receipt there. That's just letting you know that it's required. It's not telling you that it's not there, okay? So that's something that's not going to change. It's just something that we have to learn. Just wanted you guys to know that. So let's take our eyes to the highlighted area here where it says that I have read and accept the corporate travel and expense policies. All we have to do there is just click that. If you would like to read the actual travel and policies, you can do that. That's a hyperlink.
Should I do that, Tiffany?
I think before I went to Sacramento, I should have read them, okay? But just in case I need to double check on my wine or double check on something where I stayed or just whatever, I think you have the opportunity to check there and you can read it. That's a hyperlink. It takes you right to the policies. All right, now that I've checked there, I can move on and I can submit my expense report. Uh-oh, your expense report contains one or more expense lines that require managed receipts. Are all required managed receipts attached? It's just asking you a question. Don't freak out. Say yes. And there I go. I have an expense report number. Starts with EXP. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. So right here you see that my expense report now is in approval status. It's pending my manager's approval. My FUM. F-U-M. Financial Unit Manager. I like to call him FUM. Anyway, there we go. And we're back to our landing page. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. All righty. So from there, that brings us to the end of our prepared demonstrations. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. I'll now invite our speakers to please come forward. I'm sorry, Tiffany, you gotta come back up. All right. And we have folks from our SkyVU team available. So if you have a question for our panel, please raise your hand. Someone will bring a microphone to you. And also, we've got someone monitoring online. So if you are listening through the live web stream and you have not submitted a question, but you have one that you'd like to, please submit those, and we'll answer now as many questions as we can.
We have a question over here.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is for Tiffany.
Oh.
On the expense report where you were doing alcohol, there was a little box beside it that said personal. If you check that box, will that remove it from the expense report?
Yes.
I mean, it will remove it from you being reimbursed for the alcohol, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Over here. Okay.
I have a question about the timekeeping. Is there going to be the ability for the line manager to see some of the detail that the employee sees in terms of their balance, their PTO balance, and that kind of thing? I couldn't really tell. Maybe I missed it. But it looked like in the approval view, it was just that one-time thing, and I didn't see any.
For non-exempt? For the non-exempt that's reporting time?
Either.
Okay, so
if,
for non-exempt employees, let's talk about the difference between the two. For non-exempt employees, where Terry showed where you go in and you schedule time and it gets approved by your line manager, that does not occur with non-exempt employees. So the process that's currently in place for non-exempt employees for requesting time off in the future, that process will stay the same. So they won't be going in and putting in, like if they're taking July for non-exempt.
okay.
So,
How about for the exempt, though? Will you see their balance of hour? Is there a view to do that?
Yeah, there's actually a manager's dashboard
Okay,
that you
good.
can look at, and it's really cool. It shows you a calendar, so you can actually see everyone that reports to you, what's been scheduled off and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's part of the webinar. If you go back and look at the webinar, we included some screenshots of it in there. We had to take those out today to shorten it a little bit, but it's in the webinar.
and both non-exempt and exempt are shown
Right.
on that dashboard.
And if you don't see the detail that you're looking for in the webinar, I know that that's a topic that folks are interested in, so we'll be bringing in some of those other additional like management features at a later point. So, awesome. Thank you so much. Question in the back?
Along the same lines, to make sure I understand for exempt, I think kind of twofold question, for exempt employees, to request vacation, to request to use PTO, you will go in and put the dates you want to be gone. That will be approved by your manager, and then then at the end of every month, will that manager, or once you've approved it that they can take it, it's assumed that they took it?
Yes, once it's been approved, it's assumed that you take it, unless you go back and change it, like we talked about. You can either change the dates, or you can go in and just delete the request altogether. But that will go back to the manager for approval. So like Amanda said in the beginning, it's not reporting retrospectively like we do now. It's real time. So, but if you're out sick, say if you were out sick today, when you return to the office, then you go in and put those days that you were just out.
And you mentioned there will be a way for managers to see their employees in a calendar view. Is
Yes.
there any way that an entire department can be viewed in a calendar view?
I haven't seen that yet, but I can go back and double check.
There may be reporting that we can.
Yeah, that may be
reporting
more of a
your HCM
reporting feature.
specialist could
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, this is more of a dashboard view, but there's probably some reports that can be run. Yeah.
We have another question?
Hi. Will there be expense delegates?
Yes, there is the ability to delegate in the system. We just didn't demonstrate it today because we're very much focused on what we as an employee, or I personally as an employee, do. But there will be some delegation. We will discuss that as we move forward.
Travel question for Tiffany. Does that mean the per diem food allowance is going away January 1?
No, we're going to keep on moving forward with our BU per diem.
If you're going to a conference for 5 days, you would just put 5 days, or do you have to do it for each individual?
You would need to still continue to do it each day.
Just like
You would need to do it each day. Yes, ma'am.
It's in the drop-down menu.
It's in
as
the
one of
drop-down menu
types.
as an expense type.
Very
Still.
cool. I think we have one over here.
Many of our travelers will split the cost of expenses over several federal projects at the same time. I didn't see an option in this demonstration. Will there be an option within the expense tool to split costs against several different projects?
Yes, in that itemization field, you can choose the same thing over and over again. So if you, like, she used it for alcohol and the meal, but you could use it for, like, you could put the meal 3 times and put 3 different projects. I'm sorry, I just answered your question.
You're fine.
I got very excited.
No, she gets excited. We all get excited. We're good.
Not as excited as Tiffany.
We're flying high with SkyVU.
Thank you.
My question is not necessarily about the processes that we saw, but I noticed, realizing we're in the simulation phase, I noticed that it said the Vanderbilt University, and I just found that to be a bit odd, and I wondered if that would be taken out because things say the Vanderbilt University.
That's actually the legal name.
Is
It's
it?
on our tax. It's on our tax return.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I'm just not used to seeing that. Thank you.
But we're not going to say it like the Ohio State. All right, I have a question coming from the online submissions.
Correct. We have some people who have the customer service model where they have an official manager and then they also have someone that they interact with daily who might have interest in what days they're taking off or submitting their time off. Is there a way to have 2 managers in the system?
No. Unfortunately, no. There has to be one line manager.
So just repeating for the microphone, so every employee would have 1 manager. We're thinking there may be some reporting available, so we'll stay tuned on the reporting capabilities as we move forward. Another question?
We have another question in the middle.
For Tiffany, how do you upload the receipts in this program?
You know, this program is very similar to what we do today. So you would just browse and upload just like we would kind of do today. There's a button that would just allow you to just say upload receipts. Very similar.
Very cool.
There's another question from the middle.
Can a delegate submit an expense report for someone else?
A delegate should not submit an expense report from someone else.
So what about like a vice chancellor or someone at a level who probably isn't going to submit their own?
A delegate should not expense.
Could the delegate do preparation and gather information?
A delegate can do the preparation and gather the expense report. However, they should not do that.
Another question.
We have a question from email.
Okay. We got another question
Sorry,
from
Josh.
email.
Will there be any notable updates to the travel and expense policy with the change in the expense system?
I think I know who that is.
Bring her.
Ding, ding. Golly, you guys are going to make me say it. We are going to make some changes to our policy. Yes, we are. It's going to be very small, some very good changes, but yes, there will be some coming out.
So stay tuned. We'll include that in the training.
Hey, there's a question from the left side of the room.
So similar to earlier where we may have multiple sources that are paying for a particular expense report, is there a way to route that then to a different fund because that source of funding may be from another area?
Sure. The routing is going to be handled by the actual the account.
It's in the system.
It's in the
so
system. The workflow is
yes.
in the system.
So if we actually recently have been testing this and working through it, so there's a financial unit manager assigned to every financial unit. So if the costs are split between multiple units, then it will automatically route in the system. So it doesn't need to do the manual selection that happens in the system today.
Amanda.
Another question over here.
For the expense report functionality, is there the ability to take photos of receipts and upload them from your phone like there is with the Concur app?
Oracle Expense does have a, who asked that question?
I did.
Oh, okay. Oracle Expense does have a mobile app that we will be using and rolling out. So we'll have the ability to do those things.
Okay, great.
Can I follow up on that question? So then where did the expenses come from? The ones that you were showing in your trip to Sacramento? How did they get in there?
Oh, good. Glad you asked those, because some of those I upload manually, and some of those were my card transactions that came in, just as they do today in Concur. So your card transactions, if you're buying your airfare, if you're buying anything on your card transaction, it will still come into the system, into the application, just as they do in Concur today.
So those are the one card transactions.
The one card,
specifically.
Vanderbilt one card transactions.
So any of the student department of cards is kept separate still?
Kept separate.
Okay.
I think we have another question in the middle.
This goes back to the time cards for non-exempt people. Will we be able to see our balances on everything individually, not just the managers? Like what we have for time off,
Yes.
and all that kind of thing.
Yes,
That'll be the same
you'll be able to see your accrual balances through the application.
Okay.
Just similar to what Terry had shown. The same place.
Yeah, and the way that Terry explained it to me when we were looking at those absence balances, she had a moment where she showed where the balance was. So anyone can look at their balance, but only an exempt employee should submit and request in advance a PTO or other absence through the absence management, because non-exempt employees have to do it on a biweekly basis when they take it so that it can go through the process on that biweekly time card. Did I explain that right? It took me a second to get it, so keep me honest.
Got one over here.
Questions online?
Can you give us some clarity on the word assignment in timekeeping? And also, will a manager have to log in to see if they need to approve something, or will they get an email?
You want to talk about assignments?
Assignment is like work. So you're doing something differently. So it's basically the same thing as it's like your job. If you're working in the library or you're working with athletics, you're doing a specific thing, then that would be you would have a different assignment if you're like a student worker working in different places, dining.
So it's basically a job. It's not a task that you've been assigned to do.
That's correct. It's not a task.
And can you tell us about approval? Will a manager have to log in, or will they be receiving an email to prompt them?
The bell notification can trigger an email also. So that
I think it will trigger.
It will.
It will trigger an email, but some folks don't like email. Some people that don't go in the application very often would need an email. So.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it will trigger the email, so we can also teach folks if you want to collect those all in the same folder or something in Outlook, we can show you how to do that. Getting close to our time. We do have a few more minutes. Any additional questions? Got some over here. John, do you mind with the microphone?
Oh, over here.
They're coming.
Oh, okay.
Josh should go.
Please don't do that.
It's like a race back here.
It is.
If I submit a request for time off, like in July, as you showed in the example, and then I don't get to go on vacation, and I don't realize it until September that I never did anything about that, would I go in and then delete it from the July record, and then would that correct my PTO balance?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Since exempt employees get paid regardless, you're basically just adjusting your accruals. So yes, if you went back and changed it later, then it would go back and adjust the accrual.
And from a payroll perspective, you won't see PTO on an exempt employee's paycheck anymore.
Oh.
Back to the question about the expense reports. One of my primary functions is booking travel and doing expense reports for my boss. So I'll book it in Concur, but I will not be able to prepare his expense reports in Oracle?
Yes.
You
can.
will
I can
prepare
prepare.
in Concur.
And then he
In
will submit,
Oracle.
just like we do now?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Travel reservations in Concur, expense reports in Oracle.
Did I make it sound like it was?
I think the question over here that you can't delegate it. So.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to get clarification on exempt time off. Now I'm hearing that an exempt employee, if you take a half a day off instead of getting paid for the whole day, you actually have to put a half a day and then a half a day of PTO time. Is that correct? Is it legal?
Yes, and several years ago, we actually reported, exempt employees actually reported in half-day increments. But as leadership has changed, it's changed as well. But the policy that's out on the website now has actually been updated to reflect that as of January 1, we will go back to reporting in half-day increments.
That's January
What's so
1,
exciting about that, is it?
2018, not 2017.
So I have an international travel for student, and because it's an international trip, it's booked directly through the travel agency. When that comes back and hits my card, I don't really have to do anything with Concur. Am I correct? It hits directly on the...
That's right. So you just do the booking in Concur, and then the card transaction will then funnel into Oracle. So there's nothing else to do in Concur but the lovely booking, the travel booking. Right, Sabrina?
That's correct. So if you call, either book it in Concur or book it with World Travel, who fulfills all the tickets in Concur, what you put on your card will still populate into Oracle, your available expenses.
Sounds great.
Do we have any other questions? Anything else from the online stream? Got one right here. Oh, hang on one second.
We have a lot of students who do travel for us during the academic year as part of their job, and they're terminating in mid-May. Yet their travel expenses aren't available until after that time frequently, but we can't reimburse them through Concur because their payroll is not active, even though they're not getting paid until the end of the month. Can that be revised so that we can have that 2-week time frame and not have to pay them via check request? Or, well, it will be check request, but...
Yes. Yes, we are actually working on that as we speak. We are working on a way to get our students reimbursed for their travel expenses all year round.
Good.
Is there something over here? Get the microphone.
For those who don't submit by the timeline, where you have to do the PIF afterwards, how do we reconcile that now in this new system?
In the new system, payroll will be running reports on the Monday after the deadline and sending out these reports and notifying the line manager, the employee, and your HCM specialist so that that time can be submitted before we pull it into payroll. So that's the goal.
All right. I'm getting the signal that we're finished with the online questions, and it looks like there's no other ones from the room. So I'm very excited to announce it's ice cream time.
Hallelujah.
Yes. So if you will exit through the doors in the back that you came in through and go straight down the stairs, our Mean Green ice cream machine truck is going to be out there on the lawn. Please join us. There should be some music and some fun. And thank you guys so much for joining us today.